right into the lesson because this was a request. And um, the request says, should a pastor have favorites or picks amongst the congregants? Should a pastor have favorites or picks amongst the congregants? So we want to deal with this, and as always, it's going to be tight, but it's going to be right. But we're going to be raw, and we're just going to deal with it. All right. We're talking about leadership. So let's deal with this first. Let's talk about what does it mean when a pastor have favorites in the church. So when a pastor is having favorites in the church, that just means that the pastor is showing preferential treatment to certain members in his church. He gives them more attention. And then when I say he, I'm just talking, this is not necessarily just a he, but we talking he and she. But that pastor is giving more attention to those people that they're showing the favoritism to. They're giving that person more support. They're giving them more opportunities compared to others. They're creating that sense of unfairness in their church, which can cause division. Okay. And they're not treating everyone equally in that ministry. So listen at this, people of God. What about children? Siblings grow up, and sometimes the parents favor one child over the other. And what does that do to that child? That can make a child grow up a certain way and don't feel good about themselves. Now, let me also say this, people of God, that there is a difference now from having favorites. When a pastor is showing favoritism and having favorites in their congregation, it's a difference in having favoritism and favorites than having a preference. So let's make sure we understand that you have favoritism, then you have preference. There's a difference. So what is the difference with that? So the difference is, when I have a preference, that just simply means that it is something that I like over the other, meaning that, okay, I have a dog. So because I have a dog, I don't care for cats. My preference would be having a dog. Okay. My preference would be going to one store over the other. Like, for an example, I may go to Walmart over Target. I don't really care for Target, but I go to Walmart. That is a preference. So we can have preferences that can be different than favoritism. Now, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because in ministry, a leader can have a preference. For an example, a leader might have a preference on who they're going to put as an usher. They may have a preference on who they're going to, who they want to be a deacon or a minister in their church. That may be a preference. Okay. So we do have specific preferences that may be different than showing favoritism. For an example, I have my assistant pastor Carter and Elder Regina. They've been with me the longest. They've been with me from really the start of ministry, and they're still here. So quite naturally, I would have a preference with them. Not so much like I don't love nobody else in the church, but I would have a preference because why? They were the closest ones to me. But let me make sure we understand that when we talk about favoritism and a leader is showing favoritism towards certain members, we're talking about treatment. In other words, this leader is treating certain people in the ministry differently. So he or she may be treating this group of people, with high respect. They honor these people, but then these other people in the church, they might not treat them on the same level, or they may not treat them the same, meaning that where is their love? Their love may be shown to certain people, but then over here, you don't really want to have anything to do with this group of people. So we're talking about treatment. So when we talk about favoritism with a church, we're talking about where the leader is given a certain type of treatment to other people, and that makes everybody else feel like they're not good enough. They feel like, okay, well, why are they doing that with them? And they don't act like they love us. We in the church too. They only see this. How many churches have we gone to where it might be what we call a family church, meaning that the pastor is there, then the pastor has his family there. He has his sisters there, the nieces there, the cousins at that church, and then you have other members in the church. Well, because it's their family, the pastor can potentially favor his family over everybody else. So the pastor have the family doing everything versus somebody new coming in who want to serve. Somebody may come in, they want to serve in ministry, but because the pastor is family oriented. He's only thinking about his family. He's not thinking about nobody else but his family. All right. So they can have certain favoritisms because of their family in the church. I'm telling you, that family church thing, that is, I tell you, that right there, if that is not structured, and if the pastor is not structured and making sure that he or she is not treating people fairly, they will actually be catering to their family. There are a lot of family churches, and I'm gonna tell you, when it's a family church like that, too many people in the family go to the same church. A lot of times people don't stay because the family is over everything. The family making the decision. It's not really a church. The family is making decisions. Okay. And I see you, Wonderland. Wonderland has a comment, and her comment is, it is allowing them to be out of order with other members and then have no authority. That's where a lot of church hurt comes from. So people, they are allowing people to be out of order with other members, and then they have no authority. That's where a lot of church hurt comes from. And that's true, because sometimes, these people think that they can tell you what to do, and they're not even in a position of authority, but the leader is giving them that, and the leader is making them think that they can handle people any kind of way. And that's not good at all. That is not great at all, people of God. So when we're talking about this favoritism, listen, it's going on in the churches. There are cliques in the churches, people of God. There are people in the churches that the leaders only see. They don't see nobody else in the congregation but this specific group, this specific people. That's how they run the ministry. And remember, it's when the leader is mistreating you but loving on somebody else. So that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about preference, because remember, preference is different. Preference just says that I like dogs over cats. That's a preference. All of us have preferences. A preference is different than favoritism. So when you talk about favoritism, let me tell you what happens when a leader has a lot of favoritism. Okay. When we talk about favoritism, what happens there, the behavior of somebody have favorites in the church, what happens is when they're mistreating people in the church, then that can definitely have a negative impact in that ministry. Why? Because the pastor is making this group of people feel up, but then you got this other group of people that you're making them feel like they're not even significant. They're in your church, but you're not making them feel as loving as you're making the other people feel. And sadly, it does show when a leader is showing some type of favoritism towards one member and not towards other. Let me give an example. Let's say, for instance, you're in church, and let's say that for some reason you get sick. Okay, you go to the hospital and you want your pastor to come pray. Well, your pastor is slow about coming to you. But let's say it's somebody in the clique that gets sick. Well, if it's somebody in the clique that gets sick, the pastor stop what they're doing. They go and they stop what they're doing. They're going to see about that one. But you sick too. You needed your pastor too. Either your pastor don't come, or they take their time about coming. They just send anybody to come see. It's just going on up there and pray for them. But you really want your pastor to come, but your pastor, is not really taking the time out to show you the same love. If the pastor sacrificed to go see Sister Sally Sue over there, why can't the pastor see deacon so and so? Why can't the pastor go and see somebody else? So it's a lot of favoritism that goes on in the church. The pastor makes people feel like they're insignificant. So what would make the pastor go and take their time out to go see this person in the hospital, but you can't go see somebody else in the hospital? They want prayer. They want their leader to pray for them. You know what? There are a lot of churches. Let me tell you, there are a lot of churches, y'all, that, for an example, people have been members of a church for a very long time. They've been there. They're faithful. They pay their tithes and offering. I know situations where people have wanted to get married in their church, want their pastor. Now, the pastor has been there to, did weddings for a whole lot of other people. And look, the pastor even did weddings for people outside of his church. But then here you come, you faithful, you've been there for a long time, and you just say, I really want my pastor to conduct my wedding. I wanted to be my pastor. And your pastor is busy. Your pastor can't be there, but yet and still the pastor will do it for other people. But when it comes to you, it's something else. Because why? You there? I guess they don't got used to you because you've been there for so long. But the point is, there is so much favoritism going on in churches. It's just absolutely ridiculous to have leaders to show a certain amount of value to certain members, but then the other members, they make them feel like they're not valuable. And let me tell you, this is crazy, because I'm gonna tell you, when this stuff happens like this, people of God, that leader can potentially make that person feel insignificant. They can develop resentment towards the church. They can be discouraged. You know why? Because they are being overlooked, people of God. And not only are they being overlooked, they are being underdeveloped. Because listen, members are watching the leaders. Members are paying attention. So I don't care how much people try to hide it, the leader try to hide what they're doing. Don't you know the members are paying attention? We can see, we got eyes, we can see how this pastor favored this one over that one. And again, when we talk about favoritism, we're talking about how you're being treated in that church. Where is the love that pastor have for those people? Where is that? Why is it that I need prayer, but I can't find my pastor, but then somebody else need prayer, the pastor all on it? What is that? That is favoritism. Because guess what? Your love for that member over there, you got to have love for me too. I'm a part of your ministry. Do you know how many churches are in Jacksonville? I can choose another church to go to if I want to. So I chose to come here. But when I come here, you are favoring everybody else. You're favoring this person, you're favoring that person. And I'm feeling kind of like, well, what's wrong? Why I'm not being favored? And this is I'm telling you, this is not good. Because again, I can relate this to children growing up. There are children growing up. You all know what I'm talking about. You can be growing up and your parents favor your sister or your brother over you. And for some reason, you grow up thinking that you're not good enough. You think that you are not on the same level because your parent showed favoritism for one child over the other. I heard a parent, this is what I heard a parent say. A parent told somebody that okay, the parent has children, but this one child, this parent does not like, for some reason, this parent doesn't like this one child that they birthed. And so what they did was they compared that child to the other children, and the parents say, oh, well, that one right there, that one right there not like me and the rest of them. That they not like me and the rest of them. What does that say to that child? What does that mean when you say that child is not like you and the rest of the children? What are you saying to that child? Are you saying that child is not good enough? What are you saying when you say that? There are a lot of children who were growing up and just have that complex because the parent didn't make them feel that they were up with the other siblings. The parents had this favoritism. It's like the parent let one child get away with something, but then when you come along, you can't get away with that, but they let other children get away with it. And so what does that do to a child who has been singled out? Well, for one thing, the child don't feel good enough. Their mindset is going to be different, because as they're growing up with that rejection, their whole mindset is going to be different. They're going to grow up. They're not going to feel whole. They're not going to feel. What happens with that is a child grow up feeling like they can't do anything right. They don't take criticism very well either. And the reason why is because of they've been criticized all their life. So they don't take that very well. Okay. The child grows up thinking that they're the black sheep. Some children feel like they're the black sheep of the family. And what happens is that child grows up and that child feels the need to be validated because the parent never showed that type of love to that one child, but showed love to everybody else. Favoritism could mean racial tension, where there is like some people only like a specific race and they're favoring a certain race over another race. Okay. I remember I think it was December 31st. So I went to the movies and I went to actually go see, it's a movie I went to see called The Fire Inside. Now, The Fire Inside is based on a true story. I don't know if you all have seen this particular movie, but it's a good movie. I end up seeing it. But the first time that I went to go see it, when I went to go see it the first time, for some reason, the movie did not play. So I'm sitting in there and I'm waiting on the movie to start. It never did start. So you have other people sitting in there as well. Now, in the theater itself, all the other theater rooms, movies were showing, movies were playing. So we were like, okay, what is going on with this particular movie that this movie is not showing? So people were in there and we all were in there just kind of like, everybody was talking about why hasn't the movie started? The movie's supposed to start at 10:30. So, even if it don't start right at 10:30, we're still thinking that this movie is going to start eventually. Well, look, everybody's sitting in there. We're all sitting there for like 30 minutes. The movie still didn't start. So, needless to say, several of us, we were trying to call the manager and trying to, tell them what's going on. The movie has not started. But mind you now, all the other movies had started. All the other movie was playing. But what was going on with this particular movie? Now, when we talk about favoritism, remember I said it can also, coincide with racial tensions, and people can have certain favoritism over a specific race. So this particular movie is predominantly an African American movie. Okay. So we were trying to figure out why was this the only movie not playing? Why was this the only movie not showing? And it didn't look good because at your theater, all your other movies are playing but this one movie. So yes, that can make us feel a certain type of way that, all these people come out, traveled out here to see a movie at your theater. We chose your theater, and then for some reason this movie is not playing. Well, what happened was, several of us contact management tried to contact the tech people who actually starts the movie, and they had her on hold. They had the manager on hold, never did come back to the phone. So what does that say? Like, okay, why is it that every movie is playing but this particular movie? So needless to say, they did end up giving everybody a refund, which we were glad of that. Everybody got a refund. We all got refunds. So we're thankful for that. But the point is look at this. What was it about that? So that can make us feel a certain type of way, because it seemed like you showed some favoritism with the other movies, but when it came to this one, why didn't this movie play? And I see you, Prophetess, you say it's in the tithes. Oops, did I say that? Come on, come on, Prophetess. You getting ready to start something now, but it's the truth. Look, there is so much favoritism that, listen, okay, so you got these people over here, they might be lawyers in the church and they might can put in more tithe money than somebody else. Somebody else may not be living like that. Somebody else may be on disability or not getting a certain type of income. So because you're not in the class of these people who have money and can put in the church, you're not considered to be up there with them, because you only can put $1 in, but you're doing it from your heart, but you don't make money like what somebody else make. So you can only put in $1. You can only put in a couple of dollars. And then here these people over here, they can put in $300 and $400, but you still there. You putting in what you could put in. But the pastor favors the people that put in the most money. Oh, Prophetess, I'm telling you, done brought something up now. They favor the person that put the most money in. Why? Because they got money. These are the ones that, listen, they're going to keep this church going because they the ones putting the money in. So just because they put the money in, they live in a mansion, they got 3 or 4 cars. So you feel like you can treat somebody differently because, come on, somebody, you feel like you can treat somebody differently because that person lives in a mansion, and I live, in the ghetto somewhere. I live in some housing. So, I'm going to be treated differently for my status. All right. I see Peaceful Mike say in the NIV, okay, 10:34. Then Peter began to speak. I now realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism. Let me tell you, that is on my notes. I have that. That's Ike's. That's actually Ike's 10:34, when Peter was saying, I see very clearly that God shows no favoritism. God does not show favoritism. I'm coming to church. I'm coming because I'm broken down. I'm coming because, I need help. I need to get help. I'm coming to get a word. I'm broken. I need healing. My child in jail, my job, I just got laid off. I'm coming to church to get encouragement, but because I can only put $2 in the offering, the pastor don't see me. The pastor see deacon so and so. The pastor see, prophetess so and so, apostle this. They see all of them because they putting money in the church. And I'm gonna tell you, prophetess Blocker, you really, I'm telling you, done hit on something, because this is going on in the churches, and it's sad because a pastor will only, some of them will only be involved with you only if you are giving a certain amount of money. It is sad. It's ridiculous. Now, that person who don't have it to give, that person could be in the church. They could be serving. They have a heart to serve. They may not have the finances to give like these over here can give, but they have the heart. They want to serve. They want to clean the church up. They want to clean the toilets. They want to do service in the church. They may not have it, but their heart is there. Their heart is there to serve. But the leader don't see it. Why? The leader don't see it because of they're looking at the person's status and where they are, but they're not looking at the heart of that person. So you can make that person feel in your church. They can feel alienated. They can feel like, well, goodness, I'm doing all this and doing that, and you mean to tell me that what I'm doing is not good enough? Are you telling me that just because I don't have the same money that somebody else have, that I can't be into the clique? People of God, it's happening all the time in these churches, these leaders. If you don't have certain things, and unfortunately, listen at this. Now, I know we can all relate to this here. Watch this. It's not just in the local church in a sense of, if I have a church and I go to my church and there's favoritism. But watch this. But what about just in general in your local city? People have cliques even in the city. The churches have cliques. You might not get invited to a certain program. Why? Because of who you are, or you might not get invited because you don't beg for money. So I don't want them coming to my church because they don't beg for money. So you also have cliquish people just right in your city. Some people won't even, even say that you're a part of them because of how you do things, as far as not begging for money, but they want people to come in and beg for money. So because you don't beg for money, they don't want you to come because they know that you're not going to come in there and beg for money. All right. No, I'm not coming in there to beg for money. The purpose of your service. What's the purpose of the church service? This is important, people of God. These people be having all these church services. I be trying to figure out what's the purpose. Is anybody trying to win souls? Because you take your money up longer than you are soliciting for people to get saved. You taking your money up longer than somebody who need help. These people come into church because they need help. Church supposed to be an outlet for me. In other words, this is why I go. I go because I need it to help me. I need some help. It's supposed to be an outlet. I need a word. When the altar prayer is called, I need to go for prayer. But listen, you can't focus on prayer because the altar now has turned into money lines. That's what the altar now is. The altar is, how many people can give. It's not about what you're dealing with. When I come to church, I don't want to leave the same way. I want to come and get what's on my mind. I need to get that out. I want to be able to take something out that service that I can hold on to. I'm coming because, yes, God has given us pastors according to his own heart. But listen, these pastors are supposed to teach us with knowledge and understanding, people of God. It's the truth, Gwendolyn. It has become a business. It's not a church. It's not a place where I can go. It's no longer the hospital. It's a business. And not only that, it's entertainment. Okay. And just like Prophet say, it's nothing but money lines. That's all that's going on in these churches is money line. So it's not just, because when somebody sent me this topic, this is going on in their church, favoritism. But we can take it out and look at Just look at right now how people show favoritism just in our city. If you don't have a big church, oh, let me go there. If you don't have a big church, if you don't have this nice beautiful building, you got this nice beautiful building, if you don't have that, oh man, you are considered to be a nothing in these preachers' eyes. Why? Because you don't have the same type of building that they have. These people got 3 and 4 buildings. You don't have none. You now look, you still bringing the word now. You still bringing the word like they bringing the word. All right. But they focus on the building. So therefore, if you don't have that building, then you are considered to be nothing. If you don't have as many members, then you're considered to be nothing. In other words, guess what? If you don't have a building, you don't have the members, then that's favoritism. In other words, we don't want you at our meetings because you don't have nothing. Listen, people got to understand the church is me. The church is inside me. It's not your building. All right. The church is inside me. So listen, we doing the same work. I'm doing the same work that somebody doing in a big church. I may not have a big church, but look, I am the church. So guess what? I may not have the building of it like the big people do, but guess what? I'm still bringing the word. But unfortunately, we would get treated a certain type of way because guess what? We would get treated differently, and it's favoritism and it's cliques. It's nothing but cliques going on out here that people, preachers in our city, they in their cliques. They are in a certain amount of cliques, and you can't be a part of that because you don't have what they have. They base in other words, they base you off of material things. So if you don't have that material stuff like what they have, they living in these mansions. Come on, somebody. Look, some of these preachers living in these mansions and living in all these nice houses and got all these cars, and the people in the church, you got people in the church serving in ministry, and you won't even help that person. You won't even help the poor, but you sitting up there with all of your glory, and you got all of this. I remember years ago, oh my gosh, years and years and years ago, I went to go talk to this pastor, and talking to the pastor, and right behind this pastor, was a big monitor screen where they had a picture of their home, big mansion, and it was kind of like they had that there just for showing off. And they began to talk about, I went in for counseling. I went in because I needed help. I needed some mental help here. I needed to get through some things. And I go in there, and all I see is your lot. I see your land, and all of this here material stuff that you showing, and instead of you helping me, you start talking about yourself. You start talking about, I got this here, I got that, and I tell you, and I got mansions everywhere. I didn't go in there for that. I didn't go in there to talk about what you got. I went to because I needed help. Come on, somebody. Listen, where is soul winning? When are we going back to winning souls? It's too many cliques in the church. It's ridiculous. There is so many cliques. It's cliques everywhere, not just in your local church, but it's everywhere. You in your city. Listen, come on. People hang with certain people because of what they have. People don't want to hang with this person because they, oh no, they don't have what I have. It's all about what somebody have. And what did she say? She say what? That's why they gotta stay in good with the big tithe payers. That's what it is. They trying to stay in good and really being controlled by the big tithe payers, because listen, a lot of them tithe payers, they'll leave. And what you gonna do then? Now you got little Miss Sally Sue. She put in $2, but she been with your ministry for 30 years. But you got all these other ones coming in, just came into the ministry, and they can't give you nothing but, they giving you $500 and $600. So you feel like they better than Sally Sue. But look, them people there, they not there to even learn. They there to control you. They there to tell you how to run your ministry, and they using it with their money. Unfortunately, a lot of people use their money in church to try to control the leader. Okay. But look, one of them say, and won't help a tither for 20 years pay a light bill. And I'm gonna tell you, she owned to something. So listen, you in this church and you've been there 20 years and you faithful, you pay your tithes. but you run into a problem. You run into a situation to where you can't pay your light bill. You go to the church and just asking. Look, you're not one to ask every week. You just going through a little rut. Just this little season, you going through a little rut. Guess what, people of God? All of a sudden, you go to your church and your pastor tell you that well, we won't be able to help you. We won't be able to help you. But listen, but you helping who you want to help. This is what I'm talking about. We're talking about favoritism. So then I go and I need help with my light bill and you don't want to help me. But then I end up talking to somebody on the phone in the church and you just gave them their light bill. And guess what? They coming to you all the time about it. I just came one time. We're talking about favoritism in the church. So listen, what does my cousin say? Many good churches have closed because favoritism caused too much disruption in the entire congregation. This not only hurt the good people in the church, but it also hurt people that were possibly thinking about attending the church. That right there will preach by itself. Why? Because if I'm thinking about going to church and it's so much favoritism, it's so much cliques, now I'm thrown off. I don't even want to go now. Why? Because if I go, I'm nothing to this leader. Why? Because I can't put $500 in. I can only put $5 in. Come on, somebody. I can only put $10 in. But because I'm not putting in what somebody else put in, the leader looks at us like we nothing. And unfortunately, as like I said, it's not just in your local church that you attend, but guess what? It's in your city. You are not considered to be anything unless you have a big church, unless you have 1,500 members. You are considered to be nothing. People don't even acknowledge you because guess what? You don't have what they have. So they won't even acknowledge you because they listen. I went to a church one time, some people of God. I went to the church one time. This was a long time ago. But I was invited. I was invited to this church by a leader. It was some type of conference that they were having. I was invited, and they told me when you get there, you know, the ushers will be ready. They'll walk you to the front and all of that. I get there to this place, and they told them, you know, who are you? Da da da. Oh, I'm Apostle Mary. They walked me to the front. Now watch this, people of God. I am sitting by several other leaders. We're all sitting on the front row, and do you know this preacher got up and acknowledged each one going down the line, and before they got to me, they stopped. In other words, you ain't got no big church like we do. So I, you know, hey, I didn't even call my name out. Now, let me just say this. It's not about you calling my name out. It's about respect. Now, this is what I'm saying about favoritism. Now, if you're going to acknowledge these other preachers, then who am I? What am I sitting here for? First of all, you invited me. I got stuff to do. I'm busy. I have my own stuff that I do. I took my time out and sacrifice, you know, to come to support what you're doing, but you got the audacity to stop when it get to me. But watch this. Now, this we talking about leaders. Then after service, you came and whispered in my ear, oh, thank you so much for coming, Apostle. Wait a minute. Whoa. So you told me privately, but you couldn't say my name out openly, but you said everybody else's name out. What is that? That's favoritism. So guess what? You don't have to worry about me coming no more because I will not come again because you were dead wrong for doing that. And again, it's not about you calling my name out. It's about the respect that you gave everybody else. So what is that? Favoritism. What is it? Oh, I'm not up there with them. Oh. So they got prestige. Look, they driving fine cars. Look, I'm just coming up in my van. I'm coming up in my 2014 Dodge Grand Caravan. I'm coming up in my van. Y'all got all this stuff, but because I don't have what y'all have, you felt the need to not even acknowledge me, but you came to me afterwards and you whispered in my ear. So listen, it's not just in the local church of your church. It is in your city. People treat you a certain way in your city, people of God. And it's really sad how people do you. And here is the thing. We always talk about we want to work together and we want to serve together. We want to do this together. We can't. You know why? Because it's too much competition. Somebody competing with somebody else, or this one competing with that person, and this one is competing with this person. It's so much foolishness going on in church. What the women say? It's the anointing. But oh, they forget many are called, but few are chosen. Come on. Exactly. Many are called, but few are chosen, people of God. Many are called and to do the work. But listen, what did she say? few are chosen, people of God. Pastor Matisha said it's a flip side. Then when they can't get help from the home church, they'll come to our small churches, but we will help them and we won't see them again until there's another need. Oh, come on, that will preach right there. That's true. So basically, so then the flip side of that, that's a very good point, Pastor, that you're bringing out. So they coming from the big church to come over here because they know they can get the help over here because the big churches and the big pastors, they don't have time. Look, those people don't even see you in that church. You go to a big church, those people don't see you. Those people caught up with what they're doing. They don't see you. Look, so you come to the smaller churches. You come. We come. We got to come help heal you because you don't been scarred by the big church. You don't been scarred because that big church didn't help you. That big church didn't act like they didn't know who you was, and you went there, but you could not get help. But you come to us and we try to help you. We try to make sure you okay. We nourish you. We help you with things that you need. But then what happened? You get that, and then all of a sudden now you feel like you don't need us. You going on to something else. Come on, somebody. People are messy. They are messy. I see my cousin say, how can a person have faith in the pastor of a church or the leaders in a church when they act like they have no faith at all? Oh my God. Listen, people of God, listen. When you how in the world can you believe or trust in that pastor? And I understand the scripture say don't put your confidence in flesh. We got it. But if I go to a church and I got a pastor, I'm looking to my leader to guide me. I'm looking to my leader to be there for me. I'm looking for the leader to do that. But like I said, Pastor Prophetess Blocker brought it out about this thing. Look, when you don't have what these people have, they treat you differently. That's just the bottom line. It's in our cities. You know, you can go places and just because it's you, somebody gonna treat you different than somebody else. Why? Favoritism. You didn't do anything to nobody. You didn't say anything to nobody. But guess what? It's because it's you. It's because look, it's you, and you don't have what. It's just sad how people in the church, compare people based on what they have and what they don't have. And I can tell you right now, I have been into some churches, and I'm gonna tell y'all, some of these leaders are so snotty. They just full of themselves. They just stuck on themselves. They don't see nobody but them. Serve me. I walking around like they such a god, and you not nothing. But again, and that's what it is, Pastor Matisha. Less than. You walk in and they act like they so above you, and you way down here, and it's all about them. It's just ridiculous how these leaders are acting in these churches, and they feel like they God. They feel like they Jesus. They feel like they don't walk on water. They feel like they don't perform the miracles. They feel like they the ones that supplied your needs. They feel like they it. And so you come in and you are nothing to them. And it is sad and ridiculous that nowadays, people of God, it's like, you know what? Sometimes you get invited to certain services. Sometimes you don't even want to go. You know why? Because when you go, sometimes people treat you differently because it's you. They're going to see everybody else but you. And it's based on because of what you have and what you don't have. And it's sad that this favoritism is going on. And what it is, it's nothing but discrimination. It's like you discriminating with this person over this person. All right. So you feel like this person got it more than that person. And what happens is, we all know that God is about equal opportunity when it comes to God. Look, God loves me just like he loved you. So you make him put in $500. I might can't put but two, but God loved me too. And what did God say? He was looking, look, what was Jesus doing? He was looking at the offering. He was looking at the people walking around the offering table. Come on, somebody. He was looking at the people putting all the big money in, but he looked at that one lady. And what did he say? That lady gave out of what she had. In other words, she didn't even have it, but the lady gave it anyway. My cousin say most people will only accept guidance from those they trust and believe. Exactly. And then look at this. You're nothing until you open your mouth. Come on, somebody. And what? Your wallet. Oh, come on, somebody. Unless I open my wallet, baby, I am nothing. It's sad how people do. If you not in this certain arena or whatever, come on, y'all. If you not up there, you not you're not in the clique, you're not in the circle. It's cliques everywhere. It's cliques in the city. You who are you? You are nothing. You not up there with these big time peoples, you know, but you got a word too. You got a word, I got a word, but I'm not up there because of what I got and what I don't have. This is absolutely ridiculous. And listen, let me just read something. Job 32:21. Job 32:21. It says, I won't play favorites or try to flatter anyone. I will not look, I will not play favorites or try to flatter anyone. That's coming from the NLT. And look, and then Peaceful Mike said, Acts 10:34. Look, what did it say? Then Peter replied, I see very clearly that God shows no favoritism. So if people are showing favoritism, then we got a problem somewhere. The leader is in error to be showing favoritism. How in the world? You know what that's like? Okay, so we on this live, and I see people coming in, and let's just say, you know, now I might miss somebody here or there. I might not see somebody coming in, so it's not intentional. But just to give you an example, I see leaders on here. So what if I look at Pastor Matisha and say, oh, hey, Pastor Matisha, oh, da, da, da. I tell you, Pastor Matisha, everybody just stop what you're doing. But then I got my own people. I got Elder Regina come on, Pastor Carter come on, and I don't even say a word, but they own. Now listen, this is a good example of what Gwendolyn said. Look, they've been with me 20 years. So I'm going to sit here and I see them. They've been with me 20 years, but I'm going to blow the trumpet for Pastor Matisha. I'm going to blow the trumpet for Prophetess Blocker. I'm going to blow the trumpet for everybody else. I'm going to blow the trumpet for Gwendolyn. But my own people come on who've been faithful, been faithful, and you mean to tell me I don't see them? Oh, come on, somebody. The devil is a liar. God says what? He said, I see very clearly that God shows no favoritism. God does not show favoritism. I see you, Pastor Matisse, say flattery, flaunting, vain spirit. Oh my, let me tell y'all right now, these folks will flaunt. These people will flaunt stuff in front of your face. They will flaunt their buildings. They will flaunt their new microphones. I have even seen on some of these leaders have like this chair in their pulpit, like they sitting on the throne, like they God. They sitting on the throne. Do you hear me? You know, I might just have me a little aluminum chair. I might can't afford that big kind of chair with that throne. I might just have like a little aluminum chair. But guess what? By the end of my service, souls done got saved. People done got free. Come on, people done got delivered. But the one that's sitting up there on the throne chair, they think they God. But I'm going to be nothing to them. Listen, people of God, people need to stop with this mess going on in the church. I see prophets say it sounds like the leader is being disobedient. Listen, and one of them say we can't serve two masters. And what does Pastor Matisse say? We as leader must correct these actions, call them out. Oh, that'll preach right there. We have got to call stuff out. And you know what? Let me tell you, the problem is we afraid to call stuff out. We so scared to call stuff out because we are afraid of the backlash. But let me tell you something. One thing about Jesus, he called it all out. You want to know who called some stuff out? Go read your Bible and look at how Jesus called some stuff out. We have got to stop giving people a pass when they're doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. What does Stephen say? Blow the horn for your own first, but everyone is just as important. That's the whole point, is that I don't care if you give $500. I don't care if this one give $2. They are just as important as the one gave $500. So if I'm a leader and I'm going to have, you know, a get together at my house, but I don't want the $2 person to come over because they live in they don't live as good as the one that's in the 500 that they gave the $500. So I'm not going to invite that one with the $2. I don't want them at my house because they ain't got nothing, you know. But this one that come to church dressed up, oh, got the clothes down tight, got they all together. That's the one that I want to come to my house. I see my cousin say, if you call a pastor out for showing favoritism, then all of his or her favorites will attack you in the church. Good point. Listen, see, because you know what that's like? When you throw a bone in a pack of dogs, the one that it hit is the one that's going to holler. So just like my cousin say, look, guess what? If you call it out, them ones that the pastor showing favoritism on, them the ones that's going to stand by the pastor and try to make it like, oh, they just being disobedient. Look at this. You may not be as prestigious, or you may not care for the leader, but you will respect the office. Come on, somebody. You have to respect the office, because it's a lot. Because it's a two-way thing, because you got members too that can cut up. Come on, somebody. You got members too that can cut up, and you got members that don't want to do right. So you got that as well. So look, people of God, people have to stop showing these cliques in the church. Listen, listen. So while there are some members that, some members the pastor might have more likes for, but again, remember what I said, it's a difference in preference. There's a preference, and then there is favoritism. Preference is, I gave this example in the beginning. Preference is, if I like a dog over a cat. I don't care for cats, but my preference would be a dog. My preference would be, I want to go to this store over that store. That doesn't mean that I'm mistreating that store that I don't want to go to. It's just that I have a preference. So we have preferences, but preferences is totally different, people of God, when we talk about favoritism. Romans 2:11, it says, for God does not show favoritism. We have it in the word. The word is telling us that God does not show favoritism. I see Pastor Matthew say, we'll be ready to stand firm on the word. We have to stand on the word, because if we don't stand on the word, what else can we stand on, people of God? Ephesians 6:9 says, masters, treat your slaves in the same way. Don't threaten them. Remember, you both have the same master in heaven. And guess what that verse says? Ephesians 6:9, and he has no favorites. God doesn't have no favorites, people of God. And it's bad when it's so much favoritism going on in the church like this, but not only in the church, but in our city. I'm telling you, it is bad when people, treat you like you insignificant because you don't have this or that. It's ridiculous. You can go into churches and, people have programs and have different services. You going as a guest and you get treated differently because of who you are, because of you don't have this or that, because of this or because of that. It's ridiculous. So my question is, where is the love? Where is the love in the church? When I come into the church, I'm coming in because I'm coming in as I need comfort. I'm coming in because I'm looking for the strength of God to strength with the members, if they're showing love, because sometimes people are not showing love. So I want to be able to be somewhere where I feel the presence of God, where I feel the love of God, where I know that I can get help, and you not basing whether or not you're going to give me help based off of what I have and what I don't have. If I come in and I don't have the right kind of clothes that you think I should have, or I don't have the right kind of outfit or car or whatever I drive, you think that I don't have it, so therefore you're going to treat me a certain way because I don't have what somebody else have. People of God, it is a shame how people are doing in the church. What does James 2:1 say? My brothers and sisters, how can you claim to have faith in our glorious Lord? Now, my cousin Jay Rand talked about that faith. It say, how can you claim to have faith in our glorious Lord Jesus if you favor some people over others? Why do that? Favoring people over others, people of God. God does not show favoritism. James 2:1 says, my dear brothers and sisters, how in the world can you claim to have faith? Right? And then James 2:9, it say, but if you favor some people over others, guess what the Bible say? The Bible say you are committing sin. This is James 2:9. Matter of fact, put James 2:9 in the comments. James 2:9. You are committing sin. If I'm showing favoritism, I'm going to treat this person this way because of that. I'm going to treat this person this way because of this way, or because you put more money in the church, or because you have a nice car, because I'm going to treat you in the body of Christ a certain way because you don't have a big church like we have. You don't have, all this glamour like we have in our church. You don't have nothing. So I'm going to treat you the way that I see that I need to treat you. As a matter of fact, I don't even want you around me because you are nothing to me. You are low to me because you don't have. I see Shaquanda say, this is why all these new churches are popping up everywhere because of different cliques. Ooh, what did she say? We have so many chiefs and not enough Indians. Oh my Lord, have mercy. Y'all know that right there, that right there will preach by itself. Look, all these churches popping up. Why? Clicks everywhere. Everybody want to be cheap, but don't nobody want to follow. Everybody want to have their hands up, but don't nobody want to follow. People of God, let me tell you something right now. It's so many cliques in the church, but the Bible say that if people are showing favor over others, they are committing a sin. You know, I don't care if somebody come in the church sick, if they come in the church on a walker and they sick in their body and they pressing their way to the house of God. I need to love that person just like the person that's doing well and the person that's coming in and they not sick. I should not mistreat the person that's sick because of their illness, because of that, versus somebody who come into church and they well. I see your Pastor Matisse say oftentimes it's the smaller ministries that are making the impact and are effective in the community, truth be told. Let me tell you something right now. A lot of times, see, we think it's the big churches. We caught up with the big, and the problem is we caught up because we looking at the edifice. We looking at how beautiful the edifice is. We looking at, you know, oh, it's beautiful. We're looking at that it's taking up so many acres. Oh, this church has everything. Oh my gosh, this church. Oh, you know, we looking at it. But listen, people of God, look, I'm putting the same word out there as the pastor that got the big edifice. Look, I'm putting that same word. Pastor Matisha putting that same word. Pastor Carter putting the same word out there. Elder Regina putting the same word. Prophetess Vonda Blocker putting the same word that they putting out there. So what's the difference? The difference is I don't have a big edifice like you do, so therefore you treat me differently. But the Bible say that you are committing a sin when you show favoritism, because we should be coming together as a church to win souls. I'm gonna tell y'all right now, in this day and time, leaders are not focusing on souls; they focusing on the dollar. They focusing on just like prophets say, it's look. Who in the church giving the most money? I got to stay close to them because I don't want them to get upset. No. Now y'all who giving them the $1 or $2, y'all can leave if y'all want to leave, but I can't get this person upset right here because they giving the most money. I see Stephanie says, I was so hurt. A powerful woman of God wouldn't associate herself with certain people because of their attire look, vehicle, or what they put in church. She say, as much as I loved her, I walked away. Listen, people of God, we cannot treat people because of something that they have on. You know, I can't mistreat you, you know, because of something that you have on. I'm going to mistreat you. It's too much foolishness going on in these churches. And look, people of God, I have to treat everybody the same. I have to love people the same way, people of God. So this is my thing. You have to understand, people of God, that the Bible say it is a sin. And if we're doing that and showing partiality towards certain people, then guess what? I am in sin. And unfortunately, these preachers are so far gone. It is absolutely ridiculous. God does not look, he does not favor one over the other. Everyone is equal to God. God loves us all, people of God. Now, yes, we have to deal with sin, you know, and what gets me is, you know, these preachers, they want to deal with sin, but they won't deal with their own. Favoritism is also a sin. Yeah, that needs to be dealt with too, preacher. You know, favoritism is also a sin, but we don't want to deal with that. We want to deal with other things instead of dealing with that sin of favoritism. Let me tell you something. My walk with God is not based on what I have. My walk with God is not based on because I live in a mansion. My walk with God is not because I have 2 and 3 cars and, you know, I have these big vehicles and all of that. That's not based on that, because guess what, people of God, I don't know about you, but when I go to a funeral, I don't see none of that stuff in the people casket. I don't see none of that. Now, they may get a casket built like a vehicle. They may get a casket built like a Corvette. They may get a casket built like this or that, but I have not seen yet where all your house, your mansion go in the ground with you. I have not seen where you're going to enjoy that when you die. So why do we get so caught up on material things and me comparing you based on what you got, what I got? No, it's too many clicks in the church, and God is sick of it. And that is also a sin. So while that leader is out there trying to say what sin is, don't forget favoritism is also a sin as well. People need to repent because of this sin, because it's going on in your cities. It's going on. It's just too much. It's so many cliques. It's just absolutely ridiculous how many cliques are going on in the body of Christ. You get treated differently, people of God. When you're in these people churches, you get treated differently. What does my cousin say? Jay Rand says smaller churches make a bigger impact on the community because the faith is bigger in heart and strength. Larger churches loses that impact because they are more concerned with becoming a chain of churches instead of a chain of faith. Oh my. That is powerful by itself. People of God, let me tell you something right now. Churches got to stop, and they have to allow God to heal in these areas. And it's so sad now that we are living now in this time where people don't even want to go to church because of the foolishness that they're seeing the leaders practice these different behaviors in church. It is a turn off. It makes people not want to come because it's too cliquish. People are, and people bold now. Leaders don't even care how they show that clique. They don't care. They don't care you walking there. Who are you? They don't care about that. But look, if you don't have the love of God on on the inside of you, listen. I don't care how well a preacher can preach. I don't care how they feel like they can tear the roof off the church by their preaching. It does not matter. But the Bible says if you don't have no love, you just sound like a brass cymbal. You don't sound like nothing if you don't have no love. If you don't have the love of God, I don't care what you got. I don't care how well you can sing. I don't care how well you can play the keyboard. I don't care what you think you can do in church that you feel like you're doing. But if you don't have the love of God, God don't even see you because you don't have the letter. People may see you and the people may put you up. But let me tell you something, people of God, be very careful because them same ones that put you up are the ones that also can bring you down. What the prophet say? And they know they have cliques, but continue to do it. They continue to do it. And I think my cousin say, if you call it out and you say something, now the cliques are going to be mad because you're calling it out. They don't want to be corrected because they are wrong. I see Pastor Matisha. Yes, once I finally accepted this, I went full throttle in the things of God. We have to go full throttle in the things of God. Look, long as I'm focusing on doing what God tells me to do, I'm focusing. But let me tell y'all right now, I can't do it without the love of God. Now, if I don't have the love of God on the inside of me, ain't no sense of me doing nothing. I might as well sit down and be quiet if I don't have the love of God on the inside, people of God.